I view myself as a servant leader, and to serve them, you need to know what matters to them, what they're excited about, what worries them, and the only way to do that is to actually spend time with them. And I want to understand the ethos and spirit of Michigan, and it's pretty awesome. And there's no better way to do that than actually immersing yourself into the community. Well, NIL is something which is very in their early stages, and a lot of people are talking about what it's going to look like and what the policies and procedures will be. As we speak, there are conversations that are going on internally at Michigan. Ward Manuel is a first-rate athletic director, as I said in my announcement, and so we obviously are having conversations. I think he's becoming very, very progressive, and he's thinking through what the university can do to be supportive of the athletes and also to remain within the values of the University of Michigan, which are very important to me and also the entire Michigan community. And so he's the perfect person to think this through. He is a Wolverine. He played for Bo, and he is really at the cutting edge of thought in terms of NIL. So he's doing exactly what I want him to do. He's being very thoughtful and judicious, and he also understands it's important for us to compete at the highest level. So I'm going to support Ward. There's a lot of things that are happening outside of Michigan. For example, there are conversations that are happening in the nation's capital that will have an impact on NIL moving forward. There are conversations that are happening within the Big Ten. So all of that has to be integrated into the path forward, and that's happening as we speak. The first thing I want to say is that all of that happened, but very similar things happen at many institutions, as you know, even in the state. And so similar things happen at the University of British Columbia, at the University of Cincinnati. And so the one thing I want to make very clearly is that the University of Michigan, if you look at across all of its campuses, it doesn't take away the fact that it's a remarkable institution. Certainly there are things that have to be fixed. There's work that has to be done. We have been actively working on that as an institution. Mary Sue Coleman did a fantastic job in starting to address it. We're talking about it today, later today, with the executive officers. There'll be further progress that is made in the short term, but also in the long term. It's part of what I think I was brought here to do. It's part of my responsibility to start to move the institution from that situation to a better place. I've done it before at other institutions, and I'm ready to do it here at Michigan as well.
There were policies that were, revamped over the last couple of years before you did arrive. How
Yes.
have you evaluated those, and what have you liked about some of those changes? What do you think more could be done?
Like I said, Mary Sue Coleman's done a great job. It's a really strong foundation. We will build upon that foundation to make it even stronger. She and I have been talking over the past 3 months, so we really are aligned in the path forward, and I'm really looking forward to working with the EOs, the entire university community, and the regents to roll out further iterations for that base that she has created. Well, one thing you'll hear at this meeting is that Flint's enrollment this year has spiked up. And so remember that the past 2.5 years have been extraordinary years with the pandemic. And so, the important thing is that we have a great chancellor there. And he is someone who's very strategic. I'm going to support him. We're working through a process. The university is ready to make an investment in Flint. And so I'm looking into the future. And so I do believe that with the chancellor there and the support of the regents and myself, that we will formulate a plan to strengthen Flint. Flint is very important to me personally, to the regents as well, as is Dearborn. And so I really care about all 3 campuses of the University of Michigan system. Well, their mental health, I think, is of primary importance, because if you're not well and you're not thriving, you're not going to be able to perform at your maximal potential as a student, but also for faculty and staff. The pandemic has been difficult for everyone. It's been difficult for faculty, it's been difficult for staff, and I'm proud to say that Michigan is really thinking about a future kind of structure that takes into account remote work. It's actually in place as we speak here at the University of Michigan, and that's important because we want our faculty, staff, and students to thrive. Because if you have a healthy community where people's mental health is being paid attention to and supported, then you have a healthier institution that can perform at its highest potential. So it's really, really important. It's also very personal. As you know, when I was a 14-year-old and a young adult, I had my own challenges. It was at first difficult for me to talk about that. But now I talk about it all the time because I want to be an example. I don't want there to be a stigma associated with saying that whether you're a student, faculty, staff, or an alumnus, that you're having a challenging time, because most people will have a challenging time with their mental health at some time during their life. And the more people feel comfortable talking about it, the more people can support them and provide the counseling and support that can really get them out of a rut. Well, I don't know if I'm at that level to play at the musical society. I'll tell you that I have gotten a bunch of invitations already, and I think I'll be rehearsing. There's I think 7 orchestras in the Ann Arbor area. The Ann Arbor Symphony, I think that's what it's called, is a very high level orchestra with a very good conductor. And then the University of Michigan School of Music, Theater and Dance is one of the premier university-based music schools, and all of it, music, theater, and dance, highest level in the world. And so I don't think I'm qualified to play with their orchestras, but there are a whole bunch of other orchestras that are a little more at my range that you'll probably see me making cameo appearances. There's a Pops orchestra, and I always wanted to play the cello part on the theme to Jurassic Park. So I'm hoping that they'll let me play that, and so you might see me in a couple of things. Maybe I don't know if you know, the University of Michigan School of Music has probably the best cello professor in the world. He teaches at Michigan as his primary base and Juilliard. His name is Richard Aaron, and then so he's asked me to do some ensemble work with other members of his cello studio. So it won't take that long. Before the end of the year, you'll probably hear me play.